All right, so I'm back here with Preston Sandlin, Home Inspection Carolinas. And Preston, how would somebody find you?
They can go to our website at homeinspectioncarolina.com or
Awesome.
give us a call at 704-542-6575.
Got it. So before the break, I was alluding to new construction.
Sure.
And I think probably the biggest misconception amongst consumers, besides I don't need a realtor to go buy a new construction house, is I don't need a home inspector because the house is new and perfect. There's all these eyes looking at it all the time. These guys clearly know what they're doing. Come on, Preston.
Yeah, well, it's just like the realtor thing. If you don't get a realtor for new construction, I mean, if you don't get you got to realize everybody, they're working for that builder.
Everybody is.
And their fiduciary duty is to that builder.
Absolutely.
And if you hire a realtor and a home inspector, which you should, and actually the realtor doesn't even cost you anything. On the buyer side, it's crazy not to get a realtor. But that realtor owes a fiduciary duty to you.
Sure.
And is going to work on your best interest. They have to. I mean, and they would anyway, even if they didn't have to. And part of that is to get an inspection.
Sure.
And yeah, new construction. You know, I've had bathtubs that weren't connected.
Okay. Yeah.
I literally was crawling one time under a new house, and the real estate agent and the buyer were up like turning the faucets on, and it literally came down on me.
Somebody forgot.
Yeah, they didn't connect. Because they're so a builder has all these subs that come in and do this and that, and and it's sometimes at different sites. If you got a good superintendent that stays on his subs, they'll be tight. But there's some that doesn't run a tight ship, or they've had a lot of turnover, and sometimes those subs will cut some corners, or try to save some money, or not do, or their people aren't trained very well. So a new home honestly, the houses that if I did a study of like just thousands of inspections, probably the ones that are the best are probably 2 or 3 years old.
Okay.
Because we do find a lot of stuff on new homes because stuff just wasn't done. There's some shortcuts, or somebody just didn't finish, or they have turnover like everybody else. And think about all those moving parts. I mean, you got the plumber crew coming in, you got the framers, you got the thing. Out of that group, there's going to be some people who just started a week ago. There's a lot of turnover in that.
I always say like a new construction house is only as good as the sub that showed up that day.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I showed up one time in a house, and there were a bunch of construction workers, and I had a cup, and I was like, all right, I'm from HIC. We're going to do drug testing. Who's nervous? I'm just kidding.
Right.
They are looking like, uh-oh, should we run for it? But, and I'm not to knock on, there's some great builders out there, but the moral of the story is get an inspection, use a realtor.
So a pre-drywall inspection goes through the, as soon as the framing is up,
right?
As soon as the plumbing is in,
right? The rough plumbing and the
but before the drywall is up,
correct?
So usually installation's probably in at this point, and then you're going in and looking for what? Yeah,
pre-drywall is great because we can see everything. It's exposed. The piping, want to make sure they haven't penetrated the pipe anywhere, and that when they run those wiring and the pipes through the framing, they're supposed to put protective plates.
Yeah.
So that when they put the drywall up, because those drywall screws are like
they're huge.
Yeah. They can penetrate when they put them in. If they don't, all the electrical and plumbing is supposed to be protected.
Sure.
So we're looking for that. All kinds of stuff. I mean, the framing itself. If usually somewhere there's some split wood or knot or something that's caused it to split, or when it came in on the truck, the forklift, clipped a little bit of it, and you got a truss that's cracked or something. It needs to be sistered. But it's just a great time pre-drywall, right before, like you said, right before the drywall goes up, because it's basically like you can see all the bones of the house. I mean, if you could imagine, this may be a little graphic, but if you could imagine taking the skin off of your body and being able to see all your organs, all your bones. Yeah, it probably may not be the best, but
that's probably a good example. I mean,
you could see stuff that I could, I couldn't. I can't
X-ray.
I can't see that you have a broken rib,
right.
But I could see it if your skin was. I don't know where I got this reference, but same thing.
I get where you're going with it.
Yeah.
I think like it's one of those where if once the drywall's up, it's not like you can look behind the drywall.
Right.
In a home inspection, it's not like you can go just take down and punch holes in walls.
Just because, we randomly think, hey, there might be something behind that wall. Let's tear it down.
I did have a seller that of a house over in South Charlotte. Mm-hmm. They let us remove the they let us remove the paneling in the basement. It's one wall that was paneled in the basement.
Okay.
And we measured the outside of the house and we measured the inside of the house, and it felt like the room felt a little smaller.
Uh-oh.
And so the seller it was a original owner,
Secret room.
built in 1960. Yeah, we didn't know if there's somebody behind the wall, and it turns out that the basement wall had cavitated in. It looked like it was pregnant.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
and so somebody had
Wow.
come in and decided to build a false wall to hold the house up. They figured that was good enough, and did not address what was happening back there.
Give me that address after the show.
No.
I need to put that on my radar in case that house comes up in our
We
system.
fixed it. The buyer.
Ooh,
We
I bet that was
negotiated
expensive,
something.
wasn't it?
Yeah. Maybe I'll bring in the contractors that did it, because it was not cheap to do.
No,
but it's
I can tell
common
you.
on these basement houses
Yeah.
where you had a driveway right next to the house, and everything just had settled, and all the pressure just pushed the wall in.
Wow.
So
That's crazy.
fine.
On the flip side of that, it wasn't me, but I'm in a lot of home inspector forums and groups and
Yeah.
things. A home inspector, not us, identified some mold, mildew on the wall, on the basement wall.
Sure.
And you know what everybody's thinking, the wall's leaking, hydrostatic pressure or whatever.
Right.
They tore out the drywall there. I mean, fortunately, it's pretty easy to fix drywall.
Right.
It was nothing. It was dry. And then they contacted the sellers. What had happened? They just moved out the day before. There was a wet towel.
Oh.
Yeah. So on the flip side of that, yeah, I mean, that's why pre-drywall is good. Infrared, we have infrared cameras.
Oh,
so that's
really?
pretty good. Yeah, and infrared can't see through walls, but what it can do is gives you a surface temperature of everything.
Sure.
So if you come in and crank up the air, or crank up the heat, within 10 minutes, everything's trying to adjust to that new temperature, and it adjusts at different speeds.
Sure.
So you can actually see by the temperature where the studs are and that sort of thing.
Right.
They called us one time and said, "Hey, can you see through walls with that thing?" And I said, "No." And I tried to explain. I said, "Well, could you find a bag of money?" I'm like, I don't know. I said, typically you can see when there's an anomaly, there's something there projecting a different temperature because it's a different material.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of papers.
I know, so because it's like so anyway, I sent Chip out there, he's our manager, and because you could see if it was like, stud, insulation, stud, bag of money, stud.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute, come back.
Yeah.
It's funny, I hope Chip doesn't get mad at me, but he went out there, the manager, he went and looked at it, and I kind of forgot about it, and about a week or two later, I was like, "Hey, did you, because the deal with this house was, it was a, what do you call it when somebody dies?
It was an estate.
Estate.
Yeah.
And there was a rumor
Right.
that the
the
grandfather
money.
had put money in the wall.
Sure. Yeah.
And so anyway, we went out there, and we didn't charge anything with the infrared just
Sure.
to see, and I said,
Was
"Hey,"
there?
Yeah, well, I said, "Chip, hey, did you find any money in the wall or anything?" He said, "No, I didn't see anything." Watch Chip walk out and gets in a brand new truck. He just no, he didn't find anything. But,
Yeah, actually, I had a house before I moved to Charlotte. I was had a house over in Landover, Maryland.
Okay.
And we're working on it. I was working on a construction crew. I was in high school at the time.
Okay.
And we're renovating this house, and there actually was a guy inside. I guess sold drugs, did drugs, whatever. There was drugs or money inside the wall. Ooh. And so every night they would come in and they would knock a hole in the wall, and we'd find like random holes in the walls, and it was very specific.
Wow.
And so in the basement of this house was this leather couch. It's like this brand new leather couch, but it has all these cut marks in it and duct tape over it. And so they had us go, "Hey, put this on the curb." And when we put it on the curb, we dropped it. About $7,000 fell off.
Oh my goodness!
So of course we're thinking,
wow.
"Why it would come up?" I'm like, "We're not making anything, right?" Right?
Yeah.
And then the owner was like, "Probably should put that back." Like, if somebody who keeps breaking in here and punching holes in these walls, they find probably what was in the couch.
Right.
They're gonna come after you. So we left it there on the curb, and wouldn't you know it, it was gone the next morning. Yeah. So our break-in stopped.
That's crazy. I never found money. I've heard of other inspectors. I found a lot of old vintage magazines and
Sure.
radios and
That's
lots
funny.
of antique stuff that just probably been up there since
Socks.
and we always told the seller that, hey, you may want to take a look. You might have something valuable up there.
So tell me, I guess one final thing
Sure.
is HVAC.
Okay.
Probably the most mysterious of all things, because I have a lot of folks that will say, like, hey, I just replaced the air conditioner.
Right.
And then you go look at it, and one part may be replaced
10 years ago.
Right. And another piece is probably, 20 years old. Or you get where they say, oh, well, it's only 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
And then now I'm getting pushback from an inspector saying, no, the system, the gas, whatever inside is no longer good. You need a new system. So talk us around that.
Yeah, when you get that, because I'll read the MLS or the little description says, new HVAC in 2011.
Yeah. Like the new roof from 2013. And I was like,
at some point you wouldn't be advertising it as new.
Yeah, I think we need to preference new here.
Yeah, I was new in 1969.
Right.
50 years ago. But, so HVAC is an acronym for heating, ventilating, and air conditioning.
Sure.
Basically your heating and cooling system. And specifically the thing that we're running into 2020, we're like 2 weeks away right now, is they're going to stop manufacturing R22, which is the refrigerant that's used in air conditioning. Well, and it was used in air conditionings up until 2010.
Okay.
The newer systems run on R410A.
Okay.
There's slightly different characteristics, different, pressure.
Better for the environment or something.
Yeah, exactly. The EPA, way back, the R22 was going to be phased out.
Right.
And they stopped building the systems that used in 2010, and now they're going to stop manufacturing the R22 starting January. Now, you can use what's on the shelf. You can recapture it. The system, like a lot of HVAC guys are going to recapture it and use it. You can hoard it. Oops, did I say that?
No, I know a lot of guys do. I did that with the former stuff.
Yeah, I might have some in my closet. But
right.
Anyway.
Just if you have an older system.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Well, because of my rental houses, exactly. I know. So, having said that, the worry is that, let's say you've got an older system, 2008, 9, and it's working fine, but for whatever reason, your Freon leaks out. But normally you would just come fill the Freon up and solder that if you can find the hole, whatever.
Right.
I had one that every summer I had to fill it up, but I kept avoiding that $5,000 cost. If I could make it till September, I don't need it.
Exactly.
But the problem is now you're like, you've got imagine having a car that runs on some type of fuel that you can no longer get anymore.
Right.
So what are you going to have to do? You're either going to have to convert that system, or and is that going to be cost effective, or you're going to have to buy a new car that works on the fuel that's available now.
And an HVAC system is like $6,000.
Exactly. So you might my rental house, for example, every year I'm fill it up with Freon once or twice, because they say, I can get you going for 3 more months for $250, or you can spend $5,000.
Right.
And I'm like, can you get me to September?
Right. Exactly. That's when the lease is up.
Yeah. Exactly. But now I'm going to be forced to buy a new system.
Right.
When maybe typically they last 15 to 20 years, but now you may be having to replace a system in 8 years or 10 years.
Right.
Now, having said that, they are going to have a replacement for it. And this is where it gets a little sticky, because I've talked on a lot of forums, been on other radio shows, and I've talked to HVAC. Depends on who you talk to. Right. Some HVAC guys are like, it's not going to be a problem. The new stuff is going to be just as good, but you're going to have to convert your system, and there's going to be a cost to that, and there's going to be some new refrigerant, and some guys are like, well, it's not going to be as good, it's not going to cool as efficiently, and there's a cost of converting and that sort of thing. I will tell you absolutely what's happening though is R22 has gotten crazy expensive.
Yeah.
There's a sort of a land grab on it right now, and people are hoarding it. Right. There is going to be a replacement out there, but the jury's out on how good that replacement's going to be. As far as if you have an R22 system, you can convert it and use this replacement refrigerant.
Sure.
And now, you got to evaluate, well, what's the cost of converting it, and is it going to be as good? And my system's already 10 years old. The average life expectancy of an HVAC system is 15 years. Now, having said that, I've seen HVACs go 35 years.
Yeah, it seems like if the really older ones, they seem to run forever.
Don't they?
They do. And then, I had an HVAC guy tell me, he goes, well, the reason why they run forever is they're not as efficient. So the tolerances aren't so high.
Yeah.
And they're simple, and they just go. And then you've got systems like, you know, that are a couple of years old that have issues. So
yeah, well, and I can almost always tell you, like an apartment complex or a house with multiple, it's always the upstairs one's going to go first because that's the, you know, warm air rises. It always has to work harder.
Right.
The upstairs. I mean, 99% of the time, just because it has to work harder. So yeah, if you replace one, replace the upstairs one first.
Sure. Okay.
But that's where we are with that. Consult your local HVAC guy. I mean,
you probably should get like a HVAC inspection on top of a home inspection, just to make sure the systems are up to speed when you're listing and selling.
Yeah, I mean, home inspector is going to take differentials, but we're not going to, you know, put the pressure lines up and stuff. I mean, you got to realize an inspector, you know, buyer seller. I mean, we only have about 3 hours, so and we've got to check everything. We got to check the roof. We got to check underneath for termites, moisture. So we can't go super in depth on any one component because that will suck up the time. I mean, you know, we're guests at their house. We can't, you know, I can't say, hey, I need to be here 8 hours today and 8 hours tomorrow to go in depth on every component of your house.
Right.
Usually a home inspector is going to tell you enough. You know, it's kind of like a general doctor. You know, you go to a general doctor for a physical and they're like, hey, Jonathan, you got an irregular heartbeat. I need to send you to a cardiologist. Now, they may have in their mind, because, you know, they've been around, you know, got an idea of what might be going on with you. But let me send you to somebody who deals with hearts all day long, every day.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of the same thing. A home inspector is kind of a general practitioner, but if they see something like, you know, we're not getting good temperature differentials, or, you know, we're not, something's like, you know, this thing, you need an HVAC guy to thoroughly, you know, and when I say guy, I mean guys ain't, you know, that's a catch-all for girls and guys. I just always say that, so I don't seem sexist or anything.
Right. Now all of a sudden, nobody's going to call you.
Yeah, exactly. We've had a female inspector too, actively looking for another one. If anybody out there that want to be an inspector,
it's a great business. It's not like you're short for work at all.
No, people always, you know, buying and selling houses, and you know, you know, and always in your business too. You know, they're always upsizing down. The needs are changing, like you said.
Absolutely.
You know, when we first started out, my wife and I, you know, we had 1,300 square feet. And then we had 2 babies, and that wasn't enough.
Yeah.
So
life changes.
Yeah, and one of those babies is in college, and one's in high school, and now I'm looking around going, do we need all this? You know, we're heating and cool, paying to heat and cool all this area, and those systems are past 2010, and always sell this puppy and downsize.
Yeah, exactly. Go back to where you were.
So we'll give you a call if that happens. But Mama loves the house. That's the problem. That guy.
Looks like a nice place. So, all right. My guest has been Preston Sandlin with Home Inspection Carolina. Thank you for being here. Tell them once again how people can find you, find your company, hire your inspectors.
Oh, absolutely. It's homeinspectioncarolina.com, and there's a lot of resources on there too. There's a Realtor resource corner on there. There's a bunch of checklists. It's not just for realtors. It could be for anybody.
Absolutely.
Or give us a call at 704-542-6575. And if you guys are looking at a house or thinking of buying a house and you don't have a realtor, you need to call Jonathan. I've known this guy a long time, even though he is a Redskins fan. I was a childhood Redskins fan, so it's all good. But Jonathan's going to look out for your best interest, and you know, he's got a fiduciary duty to you. He would do that anyway, but you know, he's a good dude, and give him a call. He'll get the house that you need.
Good dude promotion. Can't go wrong there. Thanks, Preston.
Thanks.